second bridge, Havakadal. Incidentally, my ancestral home is here. Is it? Okay. I think it's stuck for some reason. So the entire city of Srinagar was completely deluged. This is the most habitable area or most populated area of the Kashmir Valley. I think there's some problem with the way this moves. Normally moves very smoothly. So this is the most expensive piece of real estate in Kashmir, that was Rajbagh. And people who lived in Rajbagh also owned commercial interest in Lal Chowk. Both the areas were completely inundated. So I think I'll move on to the next slide. I am not so sure if we are so much aware of the map of Kashmir. As a child, I'm used to drawing it like this. Yeah. But let's take a look at reality what it is. This is about more than 30,000 square kilometers of area which is not part of India. Nor is this. And this is what is Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir actually. And this small bit is the Kashmir Valley, which is about, I think, 15 to 60,000 square kilometers in area. What is interesting is we won't get into why was this annexed. This is Kashmir Valley with predominantly the earlier 6 districts over there. That's the Kashmir Valley as such. This is the Ladakh area Anshu was talking about. This is Jammu, Punch and Rajouri area. This is where their work was done earlier. Now this is a very interesting map if you carefully look at it. These are the different watersheds and these are the names of the rivers. And there are about 24 such watersheds in the valley of Kashmir. And this is River Jhelum, which starts from this point, moves towards the north, gets to Wular Lake over here in the north, and eventually it drains off through a very, very narrow gorge in a place called Uri before it moves out into Pakistan from here. So if you realize, this entire bowl, which is probably the largest valley in India, which is 15,948 square kilometer, drains eventually through just one little gorge over here, which also twists and turns completely. So that's the fragility of this entire ecosystem. And the only reason this ecosystem works is because of these 50 odd lakes that exist in this whole region. And so what do these lakes do? And now let's look at this geography. This is Jhelum. So the distance from one end of Kashmir Valley to another end is probably the distance from Connaught Place to Karnal by road, or the distance from Connaught Place to say Aligarh. That's the distance. And if you were to go from one end from north to south, at the maximum it is about 40 kilometers or 42 kilometers, and it goes to 32 kilometers somewhere there. So that is just about if you move from here to Greater Noida, or if you travel from Connaught Place to say Gurgaon Sector 37, that is the extent of this valley. And what is more interesting is this: the average altitude of this valley is about 1800 meters, but it's surrounded by mountains on all the sides, and the water rushes down from as much on an average of 4,000 meters to it comes down to 1,800 meters. In a distance of, say, from 12, 13 kilometers all the way into 28 kilometers. So that is the fragility of the system. And the reason it is saved primarily for all these years is because of this huge lake. So if you want to imagine in other ways what is the area, it's about 10 times the area of Delhi territory, capital territory. And its population is less than half of Delhi. So it's 67 lakhs. That's the population of this entire valley. Now, if you really look carefully, all of this information I have collected over the last 6 months from Google. So it is not as if any of this information is not available. It's all in public domain. So this system is so fragile that if you look at the 6 districts that you saw, it has got very intricate drainage system. So this is the watershed of Kupwara area. These are its drainage systems. And with GIS, today you can literally pick it out. It is so easily. And the Department of Geography and National Remote Sensing Organization has already done it over there. This is Baramulla and this is Srinagar. But when the master plans are done, they're done only for this part. But we always completely forget about the rest of it. So it's done in isolation. Again for Badgaon, Pulwama and Anantnag. So this information is available as a planning tool, but it is not used as a planning tool. So any block, because we know just a little bit about a human system. So any block, say in this drainage channel, during this flood, lot of trees fell and they actually diverted completely. They changed the course of the movement of the rivers completely. So any blockage in any of this system will have an effect on that. It's as simple as that. Any small blockage, it's like the human body. So if you try messing with it, see what happens to nature. And this is just giving you an example of how, if you mess up even with a small, tiny nervous system or nerve, then what happens to the human body? One little drop of cholesterol we are unable to handle in a human body. Imagine what we are doing to the entire drainage pattern. We completely disrupted it. And it's happening in every city in India. So the floods in Kashmir it can happen anywhere. If you look at Delhi, all the low-lying areas are completely filled up. Alternately, now you're getting droughts in Kerala, which is something unusual. So city by city, we are going to face this problem, alternate of droughts and floods in the next 20 years to come. It's a prediction. Now let's compare. This was called a 100-year-old flood. So let's look at this map of the extent of wetlands. This is 1911. I was able to pull out, and this is 2011. Compare the sizes. This is the Wular Lake area. This is the Hatlong. Now you see this is moved away from the wetlands. And if you see, the entire system of wetlands is almost interconnected in 1911. And this is completely fragmented. So it can no more absorb the amount of water that gushes in. So what is happening while we are disconnected, disjointing and reducing the sizes of our wetlands, we are simultaneously increasing the urbanized areas and paved areas and population. So you're going in debit big time. So this is Dal Lake, and like Anshu said, it was part of the collective memory of everyone in the valley of Kashmir. It found its place in the arts, in the crafts. So these are 5 shawls which depict the topography of Kashmir. That is the Dal Lake, that is Jhelum River. These are the different Mughal gardens. Each house is depicted and the garden, and living closely with nature. This is Hari Parvat. And see what happened to one of those rarest of the rare shawls in this floods. This was part of the museum, Hari Singh Museum. This is soon after I went there, after the floods. These are the planned colonies, which lie between two embankments. This is the medical college and the hospital over there. This is the convent school. Many people who are from Kashmir might recognize these pictures. This is in the center of Jawaharnagar, DA College. And that's what happens to agriculture. People are burning their own fields, livestock. 400 people died in these floods. This is the museum of Srinagar, and you can see the artifacts. These are gold platings on them. These rare paintings, manuscripts, rare antiquities. So the process of making a carpet, it involves a lot of time and labor, and this is how it goes. You keep making a little bit at a time. When the floods came, this is all gone now. So you can't keep weaving the carpet. So all of the effort is wasted. So what happens in rural areas is that you lose your orchard, you lose your agriculture, people have lost their houses, and they don't have any cash. They don't have any liquid money. So it's very difficult for them. They will not even get the loans. These are the shawls. This is the craft industry. This map kind of shows you what the valley is like over there. So, is this something new? No. There were different theories that were propounded in the media and by people in the valley, and I checked them all. I've been researching a lot. And so this is before the flood happened, River Jhelum. That's Wular Lake. And this is during the flood. They said there was glaciers had melted, but if you carefully look at both these photographs of the taken through Landsat on these dates, you will see that, forget these are the clouds, but we'll see much more snow after the floods. So the theory propounded that it was glacial melt doesn't hold true. And it was not a cloud burst as in Uttarakhand. It didn't happen like that. Nor are there dams of any magnitude in the valley. So the dam gates, when floodgates were not released. But every day it rained. And these are the data available, district-wise, how much it rained. So they were caught napping. This is September 1st. So you know it. You have all meteorological data available today. Every single prediction is available. And so everybody was sleeping. Second day, you still know it. Third day, you still know it. And then it accumulated. And you know that carrying capacity of Jhelum River is completely insufficient. The last flood, that big flood that happened, was in 1950. When they called an engineer from Punjab after the floods, and he said that please divert the flood channels by stopping them slowly in all the wetlands and eventually connecting them to Wular Lake. He didn't tell them to directly take a shortcut and connect it to Wular Lake, because if you connect it to Wular Lake, what are you doing? You're reducing the time of movement of water from point A to point B. And the Wular Lake can't hold it simply because it has to come out through a bottleneck in the gorge. So what will happen? It will all start backflowing, or the adjoining towns will get completely inundated. So what has happened between 1950 and 2015 is all those wetlands have also exhausted. So it's a very precarious situation. So we had enough time, 24 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours. Enough at least time to warn the people to move to highlands. And this was a practice which was done much earlier. Always there used to be this practice that if the water level rose to a particular point, at a particular point, they would warn the people to move to higher grounds. And the Department of Geography, many years back, wanted to propose a system of early warning so that at least you will get 12 hours of warning to move to higher grounds. And that is all it costed for the proposal. And we don't know how much the loss is. It's humongous. It can't be predicted. And it is actually, I mean, I was trying to tell myself, it's not rocket science to do this. You know, we spent 440 crores on Mars, sending a satellite, whatever. But this is simple process to save the life. And the damage that has happened is at least 40,000 crores. So this is watershed wise. So what I'm trying to tell you is that this information is available. We know this is the watershed of this river, this river, this river, river. And if you carefully look at this, there are 5 big watersheds that you really need to work on. Poru you don't need to really work on because there is very little of settlement over here. These are the three big watersheds. Sindh, which comes all the way from China. Ladakh, which gives about 10% of the capacity of Jhelum. And these two. This is very ferocious because the water comes down from 4,700 meters and it reaches 1850 meters very quickly. So all the watershed information is available, all the meteorological information is available, the data is available since 1840. It's all recorded. But it has not been used as a planning tool. It's not been taught in any college in this country. And that's the saddest part. It's not been taught in any landscape department. I don't know if it's been taught in any planning department. So how on the earth will any professional know? So this is the land use map before the floods. This is primarily agrarian. The red is built up. The blue are the lakes and the water system. And this is what happened during the floods. And on top of that, everything is decided in this country by one set of professions. Not against it. We have moved big time. It's time for multidisciplinary approach to any kind of planning. So the railways were made. And what happened? The railways are huge mountain-like structures that connect from one point from Kazigund to Srinagar at the moment. And it actually chops off the drainage system. So it acts like a mountain which prevents any drainage moving from this part to that part into the river. So a whole lot of area was completely inundated. So I traveled on the back roads, not on the highway, trying to see what was the damage that was happening during in the backwaters. Why did it actually happen? Also, the highways all across the country are built raised. So you're chopping off the entire drainage system. So it's piecemeal, fragmented approach to planning. It's leading to disaster. And this is around the valley of Kashmir. What is happening? This entire area was inundated. Now, when the Maharaja at his time, I think around 1902 or something, he called the engineer. This was the only parcel of land that was habited. So all ghats, typically if you live in this country, one edge is the hard edge where the city comes to the river. If you look at Patna, if you look at Varanasi, if you look at Maheshwar, the other edge is completely agrarian. So you allow the water to inundate the area. But as soon as you embank, as you already started doing in Delhi, or complete every year Kosi flood is happening again and again and again, it's simply because of embankments. So here both these edges are embanked, this is embanked, but they had a process earlier. It was a beautiful process because you have an artificial system. When you have an artificial system, you need to maintain it. If you have a natural system, it is self-sustaining to a great extent, which is not what happened. So they had an artificial system, they knew about it, so these are earth embankments, every engineer, I don't know how many engineers are there, they would get flood duties the beginning of the year. So they know, irrespective of which department they belong to, they would check the dams, the embankments throughout the year. Earlier, you